All right, everyone. Mike Lindstrom here. I'm excited. I always get to bring on my friends, people I get to work with, partner with, uh, show off. Modeling is a duplication of success. That's been my big mantra during COVID. Wade, is bringing in my friends, showcasing my friends. So I appreciate you coming on today. We're going to talk about your company, CPS. We're going to talk about how you and I met here in a second. But I just want to frame this up, let everybody know we are recording this. Our goal is to keep this presentation to about 30 minutes or less. We have a lot of people out there. We're going to have a lot of people after the fact that are going to be interested in what CPS has to offer. So let me tell you a quick story. So it was about almost 2 years ago. It's hard to believe. COVID just collapsed time. I get a call from a mutual friend saying, "Oh, I got these guys working at CPS. They're dynamic. They're good guys. They're always about partnering and synergizing with great people, and they want to network. I got to introduce you guys." So of course I met Wade, I met Stuart, and we get on the phone and we said, well, let's figure out a way where we can work together. So of course, as you all know, as a business coach and a consultant, I'm always trying to find ways to save money for my clients, bring more revenue to them, partner, synergize. So it was just a no-brainer for me to be able to say, hey, any of my clients I can introduce you to help save the money, I'd love to be able to create some kind of a relationship. And then it was off and running. And then of course, what do you know, COVID hit. So that's kind of put a collapse on certain things, but now we're back in order. We never stopped going anywhere. People are finally back in face-to-face situations. Our relationship didn't go anywhere, but now people more than ever are in a position of cutting costs and expenses. And that's why I thought bringing on Wade today, for anybody out there, a CFO, CEO, business owners, any friends of friends that have businesses that are kind of in the wheelhouse of what CPS does. So Wade, thanks for coming on, man. You got to tell us a little bit about your background. I know you have a baby Luke, who's what, about 6 months old, something like that?
He's 9 months now, and we have a baby girl on the way. That's now, she's been cooking for about 3 months or a little over 3 months. So we have a girl en route.
Wow, congratulations. I guess that's fresh off the press. I knew something was coming, but I didn't know the timeline. So I didn't know if you want
COVID babies.
It's in the public domain now, man.
There we go.
All right. So
go ahead.
So
Mike, a little bit on my background,
yeah.
As you know, but just for everyone else, everything I've done in my career has been finance related, and it fits in really well with what we do at CPS that we'll get into. But by way of background, I started my career doing finance, working for the CFO of a $4 or $5 billion private company here in Atlanta, Georgia, doing treasury and cash management type activities. I moved on to be the CFO of a company that was one of the first companies to create a marketplace and exchange for carbon credits. So it was founded by one of the ex-CFO or treasurer, of Southern Company, where it was an exchange that allowed organizations to buy carbon credits to offset credit that they might have their carbon footprint if they needed to, regulatory, or they just wanted to for the type of organizations they were. And it's really grown into quite a significant business in the marketplace over the last 20 years in that space. I really enjoyed my time there, but I was offered an opportunity to go do advisory work at KPMG for, multi-billion-dollar organizations where we helped do big turnarounds. I did large mergers for, some mega household name organizations you would know, and big cost takeouts. And I was a partner there that ran a practice in the CFO advisory space in the Southeast, and did some really neat things advising CFOs on how to run their organizations better, how to drive cost out, be more efficient, a lot of M&A activity. And then 10 years ago, or actually about 11 years ago, back in 2012, I left KPMG with a few colleagues, and CPS was founded. So we're in roughly our 10th year. It started around 2010. I left in 2012, and we started the organization to help create an efficiency in one of these really boring back office finance things that all organizations have in accounts payable. And it was perfect for our backgrounds. We're the folks that wrote the white papers on accounts payable and how do you do things better, like accounts payable, accounts receivable, how do you close the books faster? But we really, found an opportunity in the marketplace where, for what we do in B2B payments, companies across industries, and we'll talk about what industries make sense for this here in a minute, but they go back 50, 75 years. Most organizations just mail a check to suppliers when they owe them money. Very inefficient. As you think of everything today in the electronic age, the digital age, automation, sending paper checks to suppliers for payment is not automated. There's nothing digital, cool about it. So our company was brought around to help the creation of what they call e-payments, electronic payments. And there's a lot of value for organizations when we help them optimize the way they pay their suppliers. First of all, we get clients away from cutting just all these paper checks, where we digitize and optimize more with electronic payments, where we turn as many payments as we can into e-payments through either what we call a virtual card or enhanced ACH or ACH. We'll talk more about that in some of the slides we'll show. But the biggest value is when we can pay suppliers with one of these payment methods where the supplier accepts a credit card as a form of payment or an ACH for a fee as a form of payment. Our clients will get a cash rebate for all those payments. So if you mail a check, it costs you $5 to mail the check, there's no money back. But for a large organization, if we can pay 10 million, 20 million, 100 million, $500 million of their payments with an e-payment that generates a rebate, it's real money coming back to the organization. So if it's $1 million and they get a 1.5% rebate, it's $1.5 million of cash coming back to a customer, a client, a city, a school district, a hospital, whatever it might be, that was only spending money to mail those paper checks. So in essence, that's what we do. We have technology that enables this. It automates with the accounting systems. It's it streamlines and optimizes a process, but it actually creates revenue for our clients.
Well, let me tell you why this is near and dear to my heart, because as a vendor or partner, however you want to look at it, I work with a lot of big, huge companies. I won't name names because I know there's still some. So I have paper checks sitting on this desk right now, waiting to go to the bank. I do consulting, coaching, paid for by the organizations. They're big companies that you all have heard of, that I have to go to the bank. And guess what? I have to go to now, granted, I'm kind of old school. I still like going to the doing it. I can take a picture with my phone. My wife gives me grief about it, but that's important to me, because I as a consultant, and I have to chase down money or remind accounts payable to pay money. There are big companies, and you all know who you are. Some of you are out there are still doing this. So that was what really hit home for me when you started talking about that element, not just the saving money, but the ease of what's happening on the other end. Someone like me who's getting a paper check. So I think it's important to highlight that. It's time to get into the space of 2021. So one other question, you touched on this, industries that CPS focuses on. Do you have a certain wheelhouse? Is it a certain size of the company? Maybe speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. So, the cool thing about what we do, is every organization has payables. They have, almost every organization has organizations they pay. They pay whether it's rent, electricity, suppliers, you name it. But industries that we're big in, I'll go through a few in the type of organizations. We're big in healthcare because every hospital and health system has significant amounts of goods and services that they procure to run the hospital. They're buying the orthoscopic knees, they're buying gauze and bandages, and they're buying gurneys and all the stuff for the medical procedures they do. But then they also have all the software licenses and legal expenses and paper and office products and you name it, the electricity, the telco, the telephone lines, the internet. So a typical hospital, $1 billion hospital will have $300 or $400 million of accounts payable spend outside of salaries for doctors and nurses and staff. So it's very ripe for this. Other industries, we have tons of municipalities. And let me tell you we've seen what happened with all the government budgets during COVID. Every city or county or, could be a K through 12 school district that are all tied to the municipalities. They're all looking for every dollar of savings and budget enhancement. They all have big budgets. Like we pay some of the big cities, maybe down in Florida, we're paying with a credit card, the utility company, $30, $40, $50, $60 million a year, but it's all automated for the street lights, at the streets and all the expenses they have. So municipalities are great. And all the normal organizations you could think of, whether it's fast food chains, we deal with the big ones, but then also we deal with some of the franchise groups that might own 500, just say Wendy's, or, or the big organizations themselves, big casino groups, big manufacturers, the big names that make all the paint companies, or the steel, that all the names that you could imagine, you see all the logos for. All those organizations have big payables. Large construction companies are great. They have all that spend to the subcontractors and the goods they buy. Media companies. So really, it's hard to find an industry that doesn't make sense. But from a size perspective, for what we do, we are an enterprise type business support organization. So a company with 30, 40, $50 million of revenue or higher are our clients. It's not someone that owns 2 Pizza Huts. It's someone that might own 80 Pizza Huts, or it could be, all the logos that we mentioned, a small city, a small county, insurance companies, but it's not the real small business. Typically for them, they're still going to cut some paper checks. Might find a small business to help them outsource all of their back office finance and accounting. But hopefully that addresses from the size and the scale and the type of organizations.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so when I first heard about this, but of course, I'm a sales guy too, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm wearing multiple hats as I hear the presentation. I get to the point where I'm like, okay, check, makes sense, good guys, good model. Then the natural question is, okay, well, who's the competition? So
right,
when you answered that question for me, I thought that was powerful. So I think it's important for people to understand, like, okay, that sounds all great, but who out there are you really competing against?
Yeah. So, it's very interesting. When I was leaving my partnership at KPMG, my wife's like, literally, you're going to give up a partnership you worked all these years to now you're a partner and you're running this practice to be an entrepreneur. But there was such a need in the marketplace that our competitors are almost always just the big banks. So when you think of, wow, you compete with, go down the logo list of the big banks. That's who we compete with, but it's interesting, for everything a bank does, there are fintech companies and companies that focus only in that slice of that type thing that do it better because that's all they do. And they're the better mousetrap. So the banks are used to, well, they'll have some clients in what we do, but we have a lot more and we replace them a lot. But the thing they're really good at is lending money. And they walk the halls at their clients and they lend them $1 billion to build a new wing in a hospital or a new distribution plant for Amazon or whoever it might be. But when you think of back office integrated payables, this is all we do. We're ex-Big Four folks. We wrote the white papers on procure to pay and how it works. They just, as a bank and you have a captive client, you're going to sell them anything that, here's 60 things that we can sell them that we make more money from them as a customer. But the one they're really good at is lending money. And then when we replace them, it happens all the time. It's not like it's the end of the world for the bank. They're all upset because they might do 40 things with a company. When they lose this vertical, this specific point solution to us, it's not even probably a big deal to them, quite honestly, because the gamut of things they try to do well, but this isn't one they focus on. So what I'll say 30 to 50% of our clients, we replaced a bank, and we never get replaced by banks. So we're a better mousetrap. We'll talk about why and how when we get into the slides, but that's our competitors.
Yeah. Okay, can we do that? I'm gonna share a screen with you. So if you don't mind, I want you to share at least a few slides. And we're gonna
sure.
I want to let everybody know that we're going to keep it tight. So we have a few slides.
There we go.
Kind of visually show for my visual learners out there.
Let me just make sure I'm right where I'm going to be. You can see it, correct, Mike? We're good?
Yeah, CPS Total Pay Technology.
Okay, so, when you think of how we do things and how, you're like, well, how can you do it better than XYZ Bank? I don't want to pick on any bank's name right now, but all of them. We have, when we say purpose-built technology, that's what it is. We architected our technology from the ground up, really understanding the optimal way all of these, let me see if you can see this, all of these accounting systems operate. You think of the big names, the Oracles, the SAPs, the Great Plains, the PeopleSofts, the Workdays, the Lawsons, NetSuite, go down the list. So we'll build integrations directly into those accounting systems, a lot of times through APIs, through direct database integrations. We have a myriad of methods that we could integrate with those accounting systems to receive and pass data seamlessly. So you always have one source of the truth, which is the accounting module of Oracle for that entity, or SAP or Lawson. Our technology, then I'll show you, I'll flip real quick. Here's sort of like a screenshot to the left of what it looks like with grids of the type of payments we make. But our technology payment portal facilitates managing the payment of all these payment types for our client. And I want to get a little nerdy on you. In the virtual card is what I talked about earlier. This is where we make all the money and the rebate for our client. But the other payment types, how we can optimize ACH and check and all the other payments, creates efficiencies. It's an added bonus. Let me first start with the virtual card. Through our payment technology, let's just use a hospital, ABC. They have about $300 million of accounts payable spend. We can pay more virtual card suppliers than the banks do. We have processes built that we'll talk about one of our later slides, though we talk about our pay for you platform. But at the end of the day, if a bank can pay 25 million of a certain hospital spend, we could pay 50, 60, 70 million. And since you get a rebate back, just like points on your credit card, the more volume on the cards, the more rebate you get. So a hospital or a city or a company that might get $300,000 in a year in a rebate from from a bank might get 600, 700, 800,000 through us. So obviously you want to run your payments through us, you get more money, and our technology could be fully automated. Secondly, we've invested a ton of time and energy creating what we called enhanced ACH. For those that aren't familiar with back office accounting, just think of Venmo settles through ACH, or direct deposit for your payroll. That's ACH, where bank to bank, it's just the ABA and the routing number and the account number. You pass what they call notch files up through the Fed, and payments settle through ACH, settles the next day. We have methods to settle funds through ACH to a supplier, but because of the rich data and the way we send data to them to apply the payment on the AR, the accounts receivable side, they agree to let us charge a fee. Let's just say a 1% fee to settle the payment. All of a sudden, now there's revenue for a customer, similar to the credit card, to get a rebate back on payments that have nothing to do with the credit card. So it's like points back on ACH payments. Last year, we did $1 billion of payments for our clients with enhanced ACH, where they get a rebate. No bank manages or owns and operates and runs enhanced ACH platforms. That's not what they do. Some of them have virtual card, they're card issuers. They don't do this enhanced ACH. So right there, we're bringing more value than a bank. Then we do regular check processing really inexpensively. So we look at the whole ecosystem. Let me pause there and see if you have any questions, Mike, and then I'll jump into a little more around the technology.
No, I think that's it. I mean, the biggest thing that I think people are, when they're watching this, it's like, okay, who do I know that I can help with this? Because somebody may be watching this and say, yeah, that's not me. I'm not in the wheelhouse, but my brother-in-law, owns, a casino, or he's involved with the hospital. I know that we can talk maybe more about that at the end. I know you're very good about, trying to align with people and partner with people to help get to the right people. And when it comes to sales, so I want people to when they watch this, don't just turn it off and say that's not relevant for me, because this could be relevant for somebody I think that's important.
Oh, Mike, look, to your point, anyone with kids has a school they go to, and the school administrator then going up to the school board. The schools can always use more revenue. We probably got 100 K through 12 school districts as clients, and all that money we gets back goes back to books and computers and laptops and teachers. A family business, that someone owns a business that's a mid-size or large business, or they're executive at a company. Everyone can use our service, and we can create value. So you're right. Whether it's hospital administrator, someone in the school board, their city, more money in any city or county for policemen and firemen, and whatever it might be into their budget. But our technology will help create that value. And this screen's really important. The boring back office nerdy stuff we talked about, it could be fully automated. So the accounting folks using Oracle at a hospital or a city or a company, we can set it up where the Oracle or SAP has a file ready for payments. Our technology sees the file, it pulls it in, it checks for duplicates, makes sure it's all valid, it sends out all those payments. on all those payment types I mentioned. As they clear, we send back a reconciliation file to the accounting system, because what do accountants do? They reconcile. We sent 1,000 payments out. Did the checks clear? Were the cards processed? Were the ACHs processed? When was the money cleared? You know, you write a check, but when it cleared, you have to reconcile in your accounting system that you know that the payment's cleared. So we have all that automated reconciliation process and all the security in place, but just ease of use is important. Ton of value. It's free. It takes about 10 hours for a typical client to go live with us. So I think that's really important. This is, clients could sign up with us and have payments run in the next week. You know, as I was talking about differentiators and really where CPS helps drive more value than our competitors, you know, this slide really does a good example of showing how we can address, from the virtual card perspective, we can address every supplier that accepts a card, regardless of the way they might require the buyer to get them paid. You know, so sort of the normal bank method, if you look at this top section, this direct to supplier, the typical method will be an organization is only going to pay the suppliers that the payment partner, like a bank, can send a single remittance that's typically electronic through an email or some method like that, or a link where they pull down a payment, where it's electronic and that data goes to the supplier, it goes to their accounts receivable inbox. And only in that method where that organization will be okay with their folks in AR opening these millions of invoices, looking at the invoice data, keying that 16 digits from a card, keying the CV code, keying the expiration date, and accepting payment. So that's about half the suppliers we pay. And that's why we typically can do almost double the throughput. We also have processes built where, as I said earlier, we see this as an ecosystem where we're worried as much about the supplier as the buyer, who's our customer, and us in the middle, where for all the suppliers out there say, yeah, we'll take a credit card, but we're not going to do the work to have the payment processed. Think of office product companies. Go out to their website. You can find your invoice, or it's a utility company or waste management for the dumpsters, wherever it might be, organizations that have invested in technology that they can direct their buyers to go find the invoice. We then, or the buyer has to go in and find the invoice, key and code the 16 digits, make sure it's applying the correct payment dollar amount to the invoice. It could be one payment for 10 invoices. We know how to break those out, make sure we apply the payment correctly for the buyer and supplier so there's no issues in cash application. So it could be a web portal payment, it could be a phone call payment where you get that automated person, hi, make a payment, press 1. It's all voice activated. We route all those payment remittances to us at CPS, and our in-house staff will help facilitate those payments. So for our client, they hit a button, all the payments go out. The ones that go direct to the vendor, this top part, go to the suppliers. The ones that require hand-holding or manual work to facilitate, web portals, phone call portals, payments where we have to transpose the data on a fax form that goes to the supplier, and their technology will read all the items on the fax form. We do all that. So this allows us to help the supplier be more okay with the card payment because we're following a process they want. The buyer is fully automated. The buyer gets way more payments electronic, free, and with a rebate. So net, through all the processes we built for our pay for you, pay more suppliers, higher rebate, lower cost.
It's great.
Any comments?
No, this is great. It's just so
okay.
It's so smooth. That's the thing I love about it. It's so easy.
So easy. We have clients that never even go into our portal because we'll get an electronic file from their accounting system. We do everything we do. Electronic payment, file back for the reconciliations to show when payments have cleared, and they don't go into it, even though it's a great tool with all this great reporting capabilities. On that note, if an organization wants to explore, could this make sense for us? First, what does the process look like? Second, hey, they might be with a bank program. Is there the opportunity to get incremental rebate and get more rebate than what they're doing with the bank program? This is a good slide to show typical next steps. 30-minute call, we could do a demo of the platform that I showed you here on this slide, over here on the left. We'll do a real live demo with our system showing data that we have from, that's dummied down from live transactions, though, how easy the system works, the level of automation.
We also, just by getting a simple AP file, that'll take about 10 minutes for an accounting person at an organization to run a 12-month spend file by vendor name. And with that, we can create, I know this is small in the bottom right corner here, but we can estimate the rebate, as I talked about earlier, very accurately estimate. So it could be a hospital, and we could say, look, based on your file and the vendors we know we pay today, your estimated annual rebate is $6.4 to $9 million a year. They might be doing this with a bank getting $3 million a rebate. And with 10 hours of work, we can get them an extra 3 to 6 million, or it could be a small city or school district or manufacturer or retail operation. Rebate could be 30, 40,000, which is very meaningful for a small business. Could be multiple millions like this for a large enterprise organization, municipality, or whatnot.
That's great. That's great. So what about the ways to get in touch with us, with you, I guess? I mean, any of my friends or clients, they can obviously reach out to me. So next steps in terms of getting set up. I mean, people are going to watch this video and say, hey, I'm really interested. What's the best way to do that?
You know, if your viewers know how to, get through you, you can obviously, as you know, Mike, we've worked together for quite a while. You can have us connect with them. They can also reach out through our website, cpspaymentservices.com. They could email me at wade.eckman, ECKMAN, at cpspayment.com. Reference that they came to us through, your contact and your information and the postings you do, just so we know the point of entry and whatnot, so we can keep the relationship there. Or they could call the 800 number on the CPS website that I listed, and always dial my name and get to me, Eckman, ECKMAN.
Yeah. And one thing I want to make sure I let everybody know that you guys are big on strategic partners. I mean, that's one. It's not like you guys are employing 200 salespeople on payroll. You're relying on your relationships, people that you can align with, people like myself who might be able to help my clients save money. So if anybody's out there that's watching this and, hey, this may not be good for myself or my company, but I might be able to make some introductions to help out the team, by all means, let us know. We'd love to do it.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think we'll conclude with that, Mike. We do have a very generous teaming win-win alliance partnership agreement, where we've got partnerships with CPA firms, with cost takeout consulting firms, with GPOs in the healthcare space, with other buying groups, with technology platforms that are specific for industries like in healthcare or school districts or retail, whatnot. But we do a rev share. So if an organization has lots of business clients that they interface with their back office finance or accounting or whatnot, this could be a great value-added service that they could provide with us as a partner, and we do a rev sharing. So that's a great point, Mike.
Right. Well, Wade, thanks so much. I know we had a couple little minor hiccups with technology, but hey, that's the world 2021. We always power through it, improvise and overcome. I want to say thanks for coming on here and sharing the model and just introducing yourself to my friends and clients. Looking forward to what comes from it.
Absolutely. Well, take care. Have a great weekend, and look forward to having some conversations with some of these organizations out there that see the value from CPS I could provide for them.
Great. I love it, man. Take care.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.